This is another exciting episode of Customizing the Clone Wars. I am your host. I am Peak Obi-Wan, Customizer. And along with me, I have my co-host here, and his name is Darth Daddy. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing okay. I looking forward to another episode. This time it's Storm Over Ryloth.
That's right.
And this is mostly a space-oriented, like space battle-oriented episode, but a very good one.
Yeah, Star Trek. It's Star Trek in space. I hate to keep going back there again, but it's like did Hasbro ever reinvent Battleship in space where they used Star Wars? Did they ever do that? Did they make a toy based on Battleship where they could strategize?
I think they might have. I know they did. They've done the Monopoly. They've done Risk. They've done. I think they did do Battleship at some point. They did their own version of Operation.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, Star Wars has been pretty good about dipping into all the properties associated with board games.
Yeah, I think this is Star Wars in its greatest sense. You know what I'm saying? Where they're going into a strategy battle where they have to figure out the best way to break through a barrier, or what is it? A occupation or a blockade is what it's called.
Yeah.
So this is we are deep into season 1 of the Clone Wars. And if you haven't seen our show yet, what we do is we discuss the Clone Wars and we show our customs along the way, customs that hopefully we could have had, or maybe we feel the show desperately needs, or maybe it's just something we want to do because we're basically artists, we really just like to make customs because it's very fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is episode number 19 in season 1, and it starts off the Ryloth arc. Very cool arc. It's a 3-part arc, and we're just going to be doing the one episode tonight called Storm Over Ryloth. And I thought that I would read the little blurb from our trusty episode guide. It gives you all the details, the deets, if you will. So here we go. It says, Ahsoka's starfighters try to break the separatist blockade of the planet Ryloth, but Ahsoka's refusal to follow orders leads to the loss of several of her pilots and leaves Admiral Yularen wounded. Anakin must restore his apprentice's faith in herself and come up with a plan to break the separatist stronghold on Ryloth. So that is the synopsis of the episode that we're going to go into. How about a fortune cookie?
Oh yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's check that out. And here we go. This is our fortune cookie. It says, it is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. What do you think about that?
I think all dreams come true with a lot of hard work and dedication. So yeah,
Yeah, I was amazed that Anakin. Well, first, I feel that the Jedi were starting to get arrogant, even in season 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially you see Ahsoka kind of adopting a little bit of Anakin's arrogance in this episode, and Anakin has always been arrogant, so. But
she's definitely.
You saw it. You saw it in previous episodes with Luminara when she was, saying that she was going to take Ventress on all on her own. So even when you have people like Luminara, who are some of the most strict Jedis, I think, or by the code, and she's suffering from it. You know that when you have people like Anakin, who doesn't go with the code at all. You shouldn't be surprised at all when he's exhibiting some of that arrogance.
I agree. Yeah, I thought it was funny that they were like, oh, we're just going to send you out. You're going to command your first You're going to command your first operation, and here you go. We're just going to leave it all up to you. And they were in kind of a desperate situation. So I'm going to go back to my screen caps, and here we have the Ryloth people, and they obviously have been captured by the Separatists, and they are being held captive on the planet. So Anakin's group has to break through this blockade that that the Separatists have going, and they have the best people for the blockade, right? And who was that?
Neomodians.
Yep, right. It's something about them. They love to like block planets, you know.
It's their MO.
Everybody, right? Yeah, it is. It is. So here they are, and they're blocking the planet, and Anakin's troop gets there, and check this out. This is an image of all the Jedi and the senators, Palpatine, in holographic form. I'm surprised they didn't make more of these, you know, like full-size figures, hologram style. What do you think?
I remember them. They did the Dooku. They did the Grievous. You got a miniature of another Dooku that Ventress held, but like full size, I think it was only Grievous and Dooku, and that was it as far as I remember. What about? Do you remember anyone else?
No, yeah, I think maybe they thought at that point it was getting old or something.
Yeah,
I don't think they had anybody else in the little format, the little tiny format. They actually did do Wat Tambor, and he came with TX-20.
Yeah, that is true. And you know what? I think that Dooku wasn't Clone War style. From what I remember,
right.
that Dooku
he was more of he was more of a legacy style, and I thought he was actually cool because the way they produced, you know, holographic figure. It seems like a really cool thing they could do, but maybe they feel like it's a waste of money or something.
I don't remember those types of figures selling well. I think it was a very niche collector who was like, I'm getting hologram people.
Right. And so here is what I was referring to. There's a holograph of, or a hologram of Wat Tambor, and he is talking to the lead Neimoidian, and his name is Martuk. And I'm actually starting one, but he's a little too rough right now that I don't prefer to show him. But
are you gonna try and make it so he has that spinning light on the eyes?
Absolutely. Devil's in the details, man.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, the only thing though is I don't think he's gonna have full cloth articulation, so he can sit down. But at least if I have one standing, you know, it will be nice. But I'll eventually get a little bit further on him and show him down the road. Here we have Anakin's Star Destroyer crew, or is it a Star Destroyer? Jedi Cruiser is what they're called at this point in time. Once again, we see all of those commanders, you know, just like Wolf.
Yep. I made mine. We both made him.
Yeah, we both made him. Folks, we just utilized a commander or a Admiral Yularen figure. He has that officer's body, and then we just basically chopped the neck off and just applied a clone trooper head and some paint, and there you have it. You know, you have an instant clone officer. Wouldn't that be weird to just see a bunch of clones? I get a kick out of the clones, man, because it's so weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love seeing the clones everywhere, so I'll take them wherever I can get them.
Yeah.
Especially, they look great in this uniform, so it's hard not to, you know, appreciate, you know, this custom action figure, because you're getting to populate your scenes and make them a little more exciting.
Yeah, I agree. Yours looks sharp too. You have the holster on there. I can see.
Yeah, I didn't paint mine. You at least painted yours. I just tried to do a quick way to do just pop a head on and on the Yularen body. And is this the first episode we actually see Yularen?
No, we actually see him in Cat and Mouse. Folks, we're doing this this show basically the way they come on DVD. So we're just doing season 1 in order. But then when we got to season 3, we actually got kind of recaps, or what would you call it? Prequels of episodes?
Yeah.
Is that what you would call them?
Yep.
Yeah, and one of the episodes that's in season 2, it's called Cat and Mouse, and it actually is the first episode, and that's where we see Yularen for the first time. He is one of the favored admirals by Palpatine, and he is chosen to be Anakin's officer for his stuff. So I don't know if this is the first time we actually see him. I know we've seen him a couple other times.
Okay. I was tempted to put bandages on his head. I'm like watching the episode. I'm like, I have some extra Yularen heads. I'm kind of tempted to just, sculpt in some bandages this morning, kind of like the way you did for that Anakin in the episode of Halo Sakura.
Yeah. You can always customize little things where they can be removed or put in a place where
you have a second head, or
yeah, for sure. So here they are. They're heading for the blockade, and what was also funny about the prequels was no hyperspace whatsoever. Yeah, and we finally got it in the Clone Wars, and here we are in the hangar, and Ahsoka's mission is just getting started. And you see, there's our 2 token droids again. We have R2KT.
Oh yeah,
and we have the PYLO.
Yep.
The plump droid. And they seem to be the kind of the go-to hangar droids, and I have a couple of those here. The R2KT, that's just a repaint again, using that bright popping paint. And then this one here, the plump droid, this is just 2 droids put together and applied. I glued them together and basically sanded them down so that they were nice and smooth. And so these are our current hangar techs. And here we have Ahsoka, and she's getting ready, and she's chatting with her droid. Do you have an image of this droid that you can show us? I know that they did make this character, but you did what I feel is a better paint job.
They did it in a dark gray, and her droid's head was a little more on the white side. So yeah, I just basically took the areas that were gray and I painted them white just to brighten her figure up. And I basically just did it that way. And usually I just use it in her starfighter. I was really happy they actually put her starfighter out.
Yeah. Oh, me too. I don't have her starfighter. That's one I definitely regret not getting.
It was hard. It was really hard to find that one for the longest time.
Yeah, I did eventually find it, but
some of the Jedi starfighters were a little more prevalent and easier to find than others, and I felt like hers was one of the ones. She was just as hard to find as the character was hard to find sometimes.
Sure, yeah. You never know what you're gonna find in your specific area. As far as don't even get me started on distribution today. I mean, we thought it was bad back then, man. It's bad today, for sure.
It's probably the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, it's the pits. It's the pits. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'll go back to our imagery again, and everybody's just saying basically, don't be nervous. This is your first command. She's leading her pilots, and her pilots they have blue markings on them, and and she's feeling nervous because she once again is arrogant as well, because she feels like she can just pull this off, even though she's nervous about it. She's not even thinking, well, am I going to lose a bunch of people?
Yeah, I think she forgot that her, skill set doesn't measure up to the rest of her team.
Right. Here's another, I've showed this many times. This is just a repaint of Ahsoka again. And I just applied her lightsaber hilt to her belt. And that's just really all I did to it. I'd really like to jump in and really do a nice version of this character, like a really sharp, super articulated version. So here we have her about to take off, and check out that guy. What do you think of him?
They were some of my favorite clone designs from the show, and it would have been nice to get that as a figure.
Yeah, this guy, he's called the Clone Flight Crew. He's one of those dudes that you see on an aircraft carrier in Top Gun, and he's kind of, directing traffic, if you will. And I just really love that. I love how they opened up the Jedi cruiser, and they have these bays, these giant bays of ships and whatnot. And I have been working on this character, but I do not have him done yet. I can show you a whip of this guy. Here is the Clone Flight Crew. This is out of the character encyclopedia. And I guess what it does is it takes a couple of the elements from the officer outfit, and it has kind of that classic helmet, partially what would you say, Jango Fett kind of thing, or more
it's
like
almost like the same helmets the cadets wore, or like the little kids would wear when they were in their clone training. Just doesn't have little like metal apparatuses coming off of it, but yeah.
So what I did was I just took an Obi-Wan character. I have this Obi-Wan character. He's kind of like a Jedi character, and what I did was I just took this character. I have him in the plastic still. Sorry about that, folks. But what I did was I applied clay to him. Procreate is what's called. And I have kind of a rough whip of what the character will look like eventually. I can kind of pull him back a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but if you can see there on the head, thanks to Darth Daddy here, he actually made me some casts of Captain Rex's head. So I was able to just pop the head on and then just sculpt over it, making the helmet and the vest and some of the other elements that go along with the character. But as far as the Obi-Wan body that I used, I just grinded it down. So yeah,
I'm really glad you had me make that mold of all the different clone heads.
yeah, those have worked out for me. I'll tell you, if you can find different folks who do molding and casting, it can save you a bunch of time. So so I appreciate you doing that for me, and this guy is actually turning out really well. So we will jump back to him and we'll keep moving. All right, so here we have basically Ahsoka's troops or pilots. They're calling out their call signs before they take off. It's very reminiscent of like a Star Wars battle, you know what I'm saying? So here we have the first, like the lead of the clone pilots, and his name is Two-Axe, or she just calls him Axe for short. But I made a repaint of him, and this leads me right into my next custom. And this was a repaint just of the matchstick pilot that we received. And what it did was it gave me the opportunity to have a pilot that has a removable helmet, and I could kind of customize whatever head I wanted on there and just apply the graphics. And this one is actually just by hand. I painted those elements on the helmet, if you can see that there. And then, you know, we run through the whole line of troops that are going to go out with her. And this is Slammer. And do you see the symbol on his helmet there?
Oh yeah, that's you use the vinyl stickers that you make.
Yeah, this is that's a printed decal. Now, folks, you may not be able to have access to printed decals or water slides, but that's always an option too. You know, there's different types of things that you can make to produce whatever you're trying to pull off. So these are just these tiny little stickers, and I put that on there. You'll see that with some of my other elements, I have a sticker, and then I've done some that are by hand. And this is Kickback, I believe. Yeah, Kickback. So if you look at these, I actually did that by hand on his helmet, and that was super duper tiny. But I have a whole troop here. Here's Swoop. And there's that awesome hanger tech again. And here's a better picture of Swoop. And there's my Swoop. And you can see, yeah, I did that by hand.
Wow, I didn't realize you made all these guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And they all have removable helmets and all custom heads and everything. And how I achieved that kind of washed, kind of flat look on the armor, I just do a solid repaint of the entire body. It gives you an opportunity to kind of dry brush the details if you want, you know, and a lot of times I'll apply scratches and whatnot. It depends how dirty you want your troops to be. They went through a war, so there's always that option if you want to make them super dirty. I don't make all of my troops really dirty. It's totally up to you. And there's Tucker. And this is the last one that of the group that calls out their names. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't think 4 go out with her alone. I think there was there was at least 10 of them that go out, and they go out in the turret fighter. Remember the turret fighter?
No, what's
the turret fighter is that it came out in 2008, and it kind of was almost like a shuttle Tidarian kind of thing, where the wings folded down and the top wing folded up. It was the tri-fighter, you know. And if you're seeing that image there, it actually came from the Tartovsky series, the mini series that you said you didn't really like.
I don't hate it. I just have episodes there's episodes in there that I'm fond of, and then there's episodes in there that I'm less fond of.
Yeah. Yeah. So her squad is made up of turret fighters and pretty much just her Jedi Starfighter. And here we see Martuk again, and he is excited to basically take them down. He has a surprise for them, and what that is more of his separatist ships. And so they're outnumbered, and Anakin and Yularen basically say, you have to come back. We're not going to be able to pull this off. So we need to reconfigure and refigure out another way to do this. And of course, she doesn't listen. And here we have an image.
Because of it, because they lose the defense they needed on the bridge that they don't have, and they lose the bridge.
Right. You would think that this starfighter that you see out in the out in space here, it's going to basically hit the window. You'd think that it would take out that whole ship like it did in Return of the Jedi, where they took out that the executioner.
Yep.
Right. And here we go, boom, and of course Yularen gets hurt, and it's not Anakin this time. Right.
Yeah.
So they finally, and it's that moment where, you know, all hope is lost. So they have to figure out how to reconvene. And here Ahsoka is upset. She's sad because, like I said, I think the only ones that that made it out of there were Tucker and Swoop, and the only ones that that I say that because they were the only two that you didn't see get blown up, and then you see two ships get land along with her, but you see like Axe and you see Kickback and Slammer get destroyed. So she's upset and she's deflated basically.
Well, I mean, some people lost their lives because of her negligence.
Yeah. Don't make her feel bad or anything, Anakin. But I don't think he did though. I thought this was like the softest, sweetest Anakin we ever seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
for lack of a better word, he was
usually
just
hard on her, but this time he was a little more gentler than usual.
Yeah, he was real calm with her, even though she even lashed out at him. She's like, no. She's like pointing at him and saying,
well, you figure like it had a lot to do with his training, why she took the actions that she did. So it might have been a little bit of his own guilt saying like, oh, all right. So it was kind of train her to not follow orders. And here she goes. And she does exactly kind of what I've been modeling this whole time. And there might be a little bit of his own guilt in there. And that might be the reason why he was as gentle as he was.
Yeah. And so he basically tells her that he's got to get her back up and running. He's a great teacher because he pushes her even harder, even though she's down. And he tells her that she has to come up with a plan to kind of succeed this blockade, if you will. So we will move on here. And here we have him telling her, and this is going to go to our first Easter egg. It's not really an Easter egg. I have 2 Easter eggs in this episode. Do you notice anything about this picture? Anything interesting?
I was just checking out the nose art on the.
That's exactly what I was wanting you to see. Check out that nose art. It's like a clone trooper arm holding a battle droid head, right?
Yeah.
I just love
There's a really cool one of a Twi'lek in this episode too.
Yeah, they had some really great nose art for sure. And I just thought that it would be cool if I could print out some of these nose arts, right? And I don't actually own a gunship. I don't know how many you have, but I have
one spare ready to go, and I have all the decals that you had provided to me for that project.
Yeah, and I had actually printed this decal for myself and for Darth Daddy. And what I did is I put one on my Tri-Fighter. So check this out. So here's my Tri-Fighter. This is that ship I was talking about. It's called the Turret Fighter. And
isn't it called like a V-wing or for short?
The V Turret Fighter.
Oh, nice.
Check that out. You see
That's
that there?
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what I did is I just printed that out and just cut it to shape, and I applied it to the side of the wing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So there's always ways you can customize your products, your toys, different types of things you can do with your toys, and that's what I did in that situation. Since I don't actually own a gunship, I thought I would apply that. And here's what you were talking about.
I have so many extra Yularen heads because I started making those clone versions of Yularen, and I did the Tarkin with the Yularen bodies. So I have all these extra Yularen heads, and I was like, man, I could probably throw that together in like an hour.
Yeah,
but
I figure you could just
work on other projects.
use some plastic or something. There's always something that you could use to just do some simple customs, head swaps and whatnot, folks. Anything you can do to make your collection unique to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So here is my next Easter egg I'd like to show. Do you notice anything about this picture?
It looks like Stargate, right?
It does. But moreover, it's that really interesting view screen that we had in the Phantom Menace. So here we have Anakin popping up on that big old view screen, and it's reminiscent to when Padme is on there saying, your blockade's not legal, and and it's very reminiscent of the Phantom Menace. They even use that same, I guess they used a cello or something like that to make the sound of like the lighting, kind of forming the screen and whatnot. But
yep.
I thought that was kind of cool. And he's saying, you can have my ship. This was his part of his plan. Anakin is going to basically crash his ship into the Nemoidian ship. And Ahsoka is now in command, and she has to think up a plan. And basically, she just says, let's turn it on its belly so it can accept as much fire as it needs to. And this time, they're going to actually use the bombers to infiltrate these incoming ships, the Y-wing bomber. And so she goes out and she runs out, and once they realize that Anakin's ship is on a crash course, this guy's like, guess what? I'm out of here. He's like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
He felt the need to lie to them for some strange reason.
That was kind of odd. And the droids were like, do you think he's really coming back?
Yeah. I mean, why didn't he just say, you know what? You're in command now. He's like, hey, I'll be back. He's not going to be back.
Yeah.
So here's Anakin's ship, and it's definitely crashing into this thing. And what you're seeing here is just this would be a cool hologram figure to make too. Just filled with holograms. They finally get the idea that they should probably try to sustain any of the blockade that they have left. So they go and they start to attack, and then Ahsoka and them, whoever's left of their pilots, go and they bomb all of these ships. And since they're so slow to attack, they were able to pull it off and succeed, and they break through the blockade. And this is Wat Tambor once again saying, "You idiots! You've let them succeed in opening up the blockade. Now they can land on Ryloth." And here you see Mace Windu and Obi-Wan, and they're getting ready to land on Ryloth to go into the next part of the arc for Ryloth. And that is our episode. What'd you think of that?
It was an episode I enjoyed. I think I enjoyed the other upcoming episodes even more, but this was a really good character development for Ahsoka. So, any Ahsoka centered stories I usually enjoy.
Yeah. She learns a lot. She grows a lot, doesn't she?
Oh God, so much through the episodes. I think this is the one where she gets humbled a bit. Like, she was kind of she was always a cocky kid, quick to take charge of a situation and stuff. And then I think this is the first time where we really see Ahsoka being humbled.
Yeah. Finally in her place.
Yep.
Right. In her place, right? Yeah. All right. Very cool. Well, that's our show, folks. That was episode 12 already. Episode 12. Can you believe it?
I know. We're pretty much, once we finish, we have 3 episodes left to finish season 1.
Yeah. We're just going to move right in. Maybe we'll do a recap show, folks, but we might just move right into season 2, which is Rise of the Bounty Hunters. Well, I guess thanks for joining us. You can find me on Facebook at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations or Clone Wars Custom Action Figures. And where can we find you?
Just go to the Customs for the Kid blog at www.customsforthekid.blogspot.com. And from there, you can get all the connections to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Google Plus, you name it, it's all there. I mean, you look in the sidebar and everything will pop up, and you can get the links to wherever you want to view our content. Best content's on the blog, and, you know, everything else is more just saying, hey, the blog's got something going on.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody. May the force be with you.